Can a television show really be about nothing at all? Or is that even possible to do? On July 5th, 1989, the world was introduced to a show about nothing, otherwise known as Seinfeld. This American sitcom, created by Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld, explores the unique relationship between four completely different friends as they conquer everyday challenges of New York City. Over the last week and a half, I've spent hours researching this 90s sitcom to realize what it is that makes Seinfeld so popular. I have discovered that while there may have been no real intention behind Seinfeld, clearly the American people thought it was funny, relatable, and lovable. First, I will describe how the creators met and got the idea for their show. Then I will go into detail about the four main characters, Jerry, George, Elaine, and Kramer, and their different everyday lives. Finally, I will explain what it is that makes Seinfeld so popular even today. Let's start by talking about how Jerry Seinfeld and Larry David met. According to an article I read on news.com, Jerry Seinfeld first heard of Larry David through a friend that was Carol Leifer. This article said that Larry David gave Carol some jokes as a birthday present, although he couldn't make it to her party like Jerry was. Carol ended up handing the jokes to Jerry to read aloud because, according to the article I read, she was too drunk to read them herself. Another article I read by Janet Colley said that Jerry Seinfeld and Larry David ended up running into each other again sometime after that at a New York comedy club. Colley says that Jerry Seinfeld told Larry David that his manager was talking to NBC about doing something with him, like maybe a show of some sort. The two wandered off across the street to a Korean store, and while they were walking through and making fun of the merchandise, Larry David said in a jokingly manner that they should have a show like that of them just making fun of stuff like they were doing in the Korean store. Now that we know how Jerry Seinfeld and Larry David met and got the bizarre idea for their show, let's talk about the characters. First, there's Jerry Seinfeld. Biography.com says that he is the main character, a comedian, and he's based off of and also played by Jerry Seinfeld. Next, there's George Costanza. Biography.com describes him as cheap, selfish, neurotic, and he's also based on the other creator, Larry David. Then there's Elaine Bennis, which Janet Colley's article confirms that she is based off of Jerry Seinfeld's ex-girlfriend in real life, and describes her as plucky, neurotic also, and unable to keep a man or a job. Finally, my personal favorite is Cosmo Kramer, who is based off of Larry David's ex-neighbor in real life. Janet Colley's article describes him as the mooching neighbor across the hall from Jerry in his apartment. So basically you can kind of see a pattern going on here that all of the main characters are based off of the creators and people out of their lives. You're probably wondering that if the sitcom is just sort of a combination of people and events from both Jerry Seinfeld's and Larry David's lives, then what makes it so special and why is it so popular? An article over Jerry Seinfeld from Biography.com describes the show as a quirky, widely watched, loosely structured show with seemingly insignificant subject matter. Though this description really is quite accurate, the sitcom is also relatable, lovable, and funny. Janet Colley says that one of the reasons that the show is relatable is because it focuses on the small things in life rather than the big things. In an article by Carol Ion, she says that the show Seinfeld is lovable because it is the first sitcom to truly achieve the status of art. Last but not least, many people thought it was funny. We hear this in Carol Ion's article too, where she describes them as adults that act like children. So if you ever have seen the show, then you know that's really true. They do stuff like participating in middle school slap matches, and they can't be relied on for anything, not to mention how they wreck each other's plans all the time. The creators, Jerry Seinfeld and Larry David, met through a mutual friend, discovered they were a great comedy duo, and later created the popular sitcom Seinfeld. All of the main characters are based off of the creators and their lives, and most of the shows are based off of events also. While the popular sitcom Seinfeld was intended to be a show about nothing, many people loved this show and thought it was relatable and funny because it is a practical show about life and everyday complications that anyone can encounter. Thank you.